It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe, or like we call him in-house, Mr. KK. It's good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, KK.
Good morning, Echi.
Good morning, Mr.
Komolafe.
Thank you for joining us on the Sunday Tonic program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's roll with the newspaper review. We'll start as always with This Day on Sunday. The lead story here says, CBN is in the news again, and for the right reasons. The lead story says CBN partners international money transfer companies to double remittances to Nigeria. The Riders Remittance Task Force to report directly to Cardoso. Naira will continue to appreciate against the dollar, says Shetima, the vice president, giving hope, reassuring Nigerians that all will be well. On top of that, what you call the second lead goes to Ondo, where the primary election, took place yesterday. The headline says, alleged irregularities, protest trail Ondo APC governorship primary election. Aspirants want Ododo replaced. The governor of Kogi, it was reported, was in a shouting match with one of the contestants, and as the chairman of the election. The rider says Aida Tiwa in early lead as Kogi governor says exercise transparent. If he's going to be the winner, it's expected that he will endorse, the outcome of the election. On the window, FBN Holdings cancels EGM for 300 billion naira capital raise amid managing director's resignation. Same place in yesterday's paper this day on the window, the news of the retirement, or shall we say resignation. Today's paper is saying resignation was carried, but it looks like there are stories unfolding as to why the managing director is resigning when his term actually expires on 31st of December 2024. There are other two strip stories in today's paper. The first one is not is not so cheery. Army captain abducted. 6 soldiers, scores of local vigilantes killed by gunmen in Niger and Sokoto. And the other strip story says Tinubu Sanwo-Olu pour encomiums as Tunde Onakoya sets new world chess record. All of us were happy. Adesu and I were happy yesterday when the news broke that Tunde Onakoya went past the 58 hours that is set for. And Sheiton, I forgot. That's why I said all of us. I thought you were still in Coachella.
Okay, I deserve that.
We celebrated Tunde Onakoya yesterday and all the good things that he's doing. And we hope that he'll be able to raise the $1 million target that is set for himself. Kudos to him indeed. KK, those are the stories.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Perhaps we should start with the big photograph on the front page of This Day on Sunday.
Oh, yes.
That is the funeral of...
Ezeife goes home.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. A great Nigerian.
Yeah.
And is always remembered as an exemplar of technocrats, who got into politics, and actually made a mark. In the public service, he rose to become a federal permanent secretary before he joined politics, and in 1992 became the first elected governor of Anambra State. So once more, condolences to the family, the government and people of Anambra State, and that we wish that leaders, will follow his example, because from the various tributes, that were paid at the weekend, during the funeral, was the remark, a common trend to all was that he was principled and he lived a life of purpose and he stood by what he believed in, and that is what should make a man. Now to the story, like you observed, Steve, it's a mixture of both good news as well as not quite cheery ones, especially the one in the area of security. The details of which have not actually been reported. But on the the lead story of this day, I think it's the shared one. The governor of Central Bank, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, spoke at the Springs meeting of IMF and World Bank in Washington, D.C. And they're trying to rally, partners, and well-wishers, of Nigeria, on what they are doing in the management of Nigerian economy. And one area is what that story focuses upon, and that is getting the international money transfer companies, to double the remittances. I think for long there has been this call that Nigeria should take more seriously, the place of remittances, to the economy, especially now that we're having, forex, problem in the economy, and that the whole process should be well structured, and be targeted, so that you'll be able to achieve the purpose, for which it is meant for in the economy. Because you could take, you could borrow, take a leaf, from the book of other countries. For instance, on top of the chart, globally in terms of remittances, is India. Last year it was reported about $125 billion. Was remittances. Followed by Mexico, about $67 billion. Even it's really surprised that even China, still reckons with remittances. And last year they got about 50 billion, and closer to us here, Egypt had about $40 billion. But now that the CBN governor says that there will be a task force, that will report to him directly in his office, the hope is that remittances will play a more positive role, in the economy here.
Right.
Yeah.
Are those all the stories that you want to treat on this day? Should we move over to this day style?
No. We cannot ignore the political story. I could see the excitement of Steve. I could see the excitement of Steve. For reasons I will not, I will not disclose about it. But just say that what happened in this state weekend, is not atypical. It is typical. That you have primaries. There will be protests. And be an internal party issue. The options are is whether it will be well managed. That's one model. Or if it is mismanaged, it will have effect on the overall election. I think while we await the formal announcement of the result of the winner, what the story is saying is that the governor of Ondo State, Mr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa, is poised to win, the primary, but other contestants, are displeased, and a lot of allegations, of abuse, of the process, have been made, and it's basically an internal party issue, and is perhaps hope that the APC will be able to muster, sufficient organizational capacity to deal with it, and for instance in Edo, it had a similar experience, was able to deal with it. That's why I say that when you have primaries, there are two options. Either the party is able to manage it very well and then consolidate its ranks, for the election, or if it is mismanaged, like we are saying, it will, the reverberation, of it will come on the day of the election.
All right. Let's head over to This Day Style. The cover picture there, This Day Style is celebrating 5 artists who they term as Art's New Masters. We have Victor Ehi Kameno and Peju Alatishe. We also have Njideka Crosby, Yinka Shonibare, Sokari Camp, I mean, the Shonibari OG, the real OG. All right. And, you know, ever so often, I believe that Funke Babs Kufeji wrote an art piece on these artists. I believe you were saying something about the recent art.
I think it might be connected to the Venice Biennale, where Nigeria is participating, and Nigeria has a pavilion. Yeah. And Yinka Shonibari is there. I think Victor is also there. You know, a number of people are there.
Yeah, but I would say that they are real OGs. I mean, all these artists that are on the covers. I mean, on the cover of the This Day Style, she says ever so often a masterpiece arrives on the art scene with such compelling authority that it recalibrates our understanding and appreciation of an entire culture's artistic output. I mean, kudos to those 5 artists right now on the
big
cover
names.
there. They're
big
real
names,
big names.
Absolutely.
I mean, you do know Bennett Nwonwu's pieces. Obviously, we all know and appreciate what he's done for the art scene. I mean, just one of his pieces alone. I mean, Tutu, I would say, sold for about what was it, $1.4 million at the time. I mean, kudos to them. Over to you. Mr.
Yes. The review by Funke Babs Kufeji, is one that we would like to recommend, to the readers, quite, a very, very good review, And the significance of it is that, and I think Steve can be a witness there, that, is sharing news that we are talking of, the arrival of new masters. Because, I mean, when, great art reviewer like Steve, when they do their work, I mean, it's like it become, when you mention just, the greats, the one who thank you, that exactly that we're now. I mean, what that story is telling us is that that the list is when that we are having new masters, and it's a good thing that there's the focus on them, and I think that in terms of topicality, This Day Style, has done a great one.
I'm a huge admirer of Yinka Shonibari. I did interview him in New York when I first started in New York, and he was one of my first interviews. And he's so amazing. I mean, his story. I mean, that he's physically challenged, and just to have that type of person create such masterpieces, even with his fabrics and his craft, completely amazing. So kudos.
He's featured a couple of times, at Artex.
I did see him again at Artex.
And the mere fact that he's headlining the Nigerian pavilion in Venice, where practically, I mean, great people of note in the arts and in the in the literary world. Professor Shoyinka is there, German and Ekulapo is there, the governor of Edo State, Obaseki, was part of those who made it happen. The minister of Culture and Creative Economy, Anatu Musawa, is there. And Rice is also covering it, by the way, because that's undoubtedly the biggest, art biennale, in the world. For a long time, Nigeria has always struggled to participate fully, particularly when you need to have a pavilion. But I'm glad that this year, everybody's talking about the Nigerian pavilion in Venice and having this story featuring some of the people making us proud in Venice on the cover of This Day Style is just very apt and timely.
It's a celebration of creativity.
Absolutely.
And I think it's quite in order.
Do you have
kudos
papers, Shaitan,
to This
or
Day
should
Style.
we do,
Okay, we can do the Sunday Punch, of course. On the masthead there, the story reads, Labour lists 7 demands once creation of...
The Punch newspaper.
Yes, the Punch.
The Punch,
The Punch.
The Punch newspaper, yes. Labour lists 7 demands once creation of state and local government police. Says the federal government, states, local governments must pay expected minimum wage. Ex-TUC president warns against arbitrary fixing of new age, and lawyers say local government police is feasible. That's on page 3. Just by the side there, story reads, bandits on rampage kill 6 soldiers and 9 others in Sokoto and in Niger. Sorry, Niger. Of course, just above there's another story. Abiola's family not supporting the Yoruba Nation agitators. We know what happened with those agitators that went into the sacred ground and, of course, caused a riot. Under the mass headline there, trampled to death, Hunger and desperate search for food drives the citizens to early graves. I mean, we're still, even though the dollar is coming down now, we're still seeing high pricing in food. And of course, just on that, there beside that story, death rumors don't bother me. This is ex-governor Olunloyo. So your thoughts on the story? I'm particularly interested in this demand, the 7 demands that Labour wants.
Yes, I think it's a welcome thing, because now Labour's approach is that of engagement, actually putting issues on the table, and it is also significant that Labour is intervening in the debate, over state police, which is an issue which is on the table, for the national, because at the end of the day, it's going to have impact, on, I mean, whatever decision that is taken, will definitely have impact, on his members, What, could be suggested is that, government at this stage, the relevant agencies and departments of government should engage Labour, on this demand, so that, issues could be done on the basis of bargaining, and rather than allowing, the tension to rise, and then you get to a point when there will be fears, of industrial action and the rest. I mean, it should be normal. It should be a normal engagement. So I think the demands of Labour, are important, enough, for engagement with government. The other story, which is the statement, from a member of the famous, Abiola family, dissociating the family from, the tragic incident, in Oyo State, about a week ago, I think it's important that he has made that statement, that the family is not in any way, endorsing, that kind of juvenile, action, which could have very tragic implications, because like Jami is saying in that statement, because it's not secession, I mean secession is not something you toy with. It's not a toy, So even if adults, want to behave like juveniles, like Dr. Abati will often say, then even juveniles know the kind of toys that they should play with,
Absolutely.
For instance, you cannot say because you are juvenile, then you say an explosive, and then you mistake it for a toy.
I mean, I think it's important that they came out to do, because we have just a minute left. I think this is such an important story that I don't want us to gloss over. The Daily Trust is also reporting it, which was in the Punch. Bandits kill 6 soldiers, abduct captain in Niger. I think, I mean, we've just seen the incident in Okoma. I mean, what does this signal? We're seeing our soldiers being killed by these.
They captured it, by the way, too.
They captured it as well.
Yes,
so, but I don't want us to gloss over this. Let me add Sunday Telegraph to it, so that in the last 30 seconds you can pick it. The cover for Telegraph says PDP neck, how governors, National Assembly caucus, others averted Atiku Wike clash. I mean, this is pure politics, but part of the story that rocked all of last week, Telegraph is reporting that on Yahaya Bello, CSOs accuse EFCC of playing politics. That's on page 5 and 6. Ex-governor, they're saying, may honor invitation this week, given the fact that the FCC is saying that they couldn't find him, they're declaring him wanted, they're storming his house, but Telegraph is saying that they, your thoughts in few words.
Okay. On Governor Abelo, I think the decent thing to do is just to comply with the law.
Just come out,
for somebody who has been a chief executive officer of the state, the least expected is that he should comply with the rule of law. He should go, and get his lawyers ready and go to go. And I also share the fear of Oji on the killing of soldiers. So all we can just call for is that the state should manage, because it's also a potentially explosive situation. Given the fact that we have not fully recovered from Okwama. In fact, even the details of Okwama,
it's still being discussed.
So it's really tragedy.
Right. Well, we'd like to thank you very much, as always, for joining us on Newspaper Review, our Sunday Tonic. I hope we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve.